advice warning. The content presented in this presentation is intended for informational purposes only and provides general advice only. It does not take into account your personal objectives, financial situation, or specific needs. This information should not be the sole resource when making investment decisions. We strongly recommend you seek the advice of a financial professional. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Bulls versus Bears. EP87 from the shadows to Stardom, Platinum and Silver soar. Some very happy faces here at MPC this week. We're finally getting that move that that we've been promising for so long. Welcome, JT, mate. What are your thoughts on the moves this week?
Well, the interesting part for me is that, we've seen a big move in silver while the US dollar is rising as well. So, that just shows you it's not all dollar related. So, big moves. And, welcome and thanks for listening in, people.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for all the audience out there listening to us gibber on. Look, equities this week. We started off pretty positive and particularly, on the back of, we just had that trickle feed of just constant AI deals going through, and then the market, the investor sentiment kind of turned on. I don't know why everyone hates Sam Altman so much, but I think he might be going close to challenging Elon for the most hated person in America. Probably just people don't know who he is. But that deal between Oracle and NVIDIA and OpenAI really got some backlash, basically, where they're saying, spending OpenAI was spending $100 billion on NVIDIA chips, and then NVIDIA was investing $100 billion into OpenAI, and basically just saying they're calling it AI washing. And
so it's the AI server of life, basically. I scratch your back and you scratch mine.
Well, and it did initially. Everyone just used that $100 billion to increase their multiples, but obviously you can't do it for everyone. And then the sentiment in the market started to turn a little bit nasty on it, actually. And then it sort of crescendoed a little bit. We were about flat for the week, but it crescendoed really overnight when the biggest final. So with GDP numbers, there's preliminary. There's advanced, preliminary, and final. So they're the same number in a quarter, but obviously they're revised over time because they can't collate all those details in enough time. So it was 3% for the advance, which was everyone was shocked was high. Then it went to 3.1 or 3.2 on the preliminary, on the revision. And final doesn't normally move that much. Like, you never see a revision more than 0.1 or 0.2. And it was revised. It was expected at 3.3. It was revised to 3.8.
Wow.
For the year on year, which is massive, and essentially really snookers the Fed now. So all of the rate cut hope that was definitely priced into the market from all of last week and the week before, probably about 6% move in the S&P. That's all sort of been taken away because I don't think it would go down in textbooks as the dumbest move in history if you saw a Fed cutting rates into 4% GDP at 3% inflation and the jobs market softening, but it's only anecdotal at the moment. So that's where we saw a lot of the long-term and short-term rates went higher, and that really sucked the air out of the growth stocks. So we benefited from the commodities heading higher, but that was about it.
Yeah, but as you said, the Fed's snookered. They're not supposed to be a political organization, but here they are. You've got Trump, just putting so much pressure on them to cut rates, and then now they have a strong number, and you're like, well, does the economy actually need these lower rates? But it just shows that when all you've done is kind of just choose the economy on debt, and then now you have to roll over that debt. We're just stuck in a perpetual doom loop, and that's why I've been saying that will gold and silver go higher, and there's your answer. It's like they have no choice but to. They're not doing it right now, but they have this huge amount of debt to roll over. That's why Trump's been banging the drum to actually lower the rates. But if they lower the rate, they're just going to open the door for inflation, and and the economy is doing well. So
yeah, it's and look, I mean, it's it's very conflicting thing. That court case still goes on with Lisa Cook, who got fired from the Fed. Even Trump's man on the Fed who got a vote, he was the dissenter at 50. But we wrote an article 2 weeks ago when you and I were watching Ausbiz, and everyone's going, "Oh no, the running gold's done." I'd be getting out here. And then we write between the two of us, we write the newsletter, afternoon newsletter for Ausbiz on a Tuesday, and I turned around to you and just went, "No, it's not." Like when we both agreed. So we wrote an article or a blog piece just saying, "You think the run's over? Yeah, think again." And I think since then gold's gone up $200, just about.
Well, it's a new high, and then silver's broken out as well. So
yeah, and silver would have been around $41. It traded $45.40 overnight.
Wow.
So and platinum as well, highest since 2014. And we're looking at, if we get above 49.80 in silver, it's all-time highs. And when it went to 49, the high 49s back in 2011, 40 to 49 happened in 11 trading days.
Oh, wow.
At the moment, it's probably not that quick, but it's pretty quick for as you say, the US dollar rallied last night and silver and platinum went up. They do have that government shutdown looming as well, which is never good for. I mean, I think higher rate expectations drag the US dollar higher, but I think there's concerns around yet another government shutdown, and we might get that second downgrade that people laughed at me about at the start of the year, where I said I think the states could get downgraded twice this year. It's already happened
exactly.
once, but another government, they reckon it's definite now. Poly markets are showing basically there's no way they're going to get it together.
Yeah, well, we were talking about the rating agencies as well. Like, they're always late to the party. So if they're preempting this, like it could definitely come. But what I found interesting with all of this is that Ausbiz, or a lot of people were saying, has to move over. The key is the commodities market, or gold and silver, is still quite small compared to the rest of the equities market, or the rest of the debt pile out there. So if they're going to look for somewhere to park their money and look for a store of value, this can just keep going much higher. And I think it surprised a lot of people to the upside so far, and I don't think we've seen most of it yet. So if we're talking, I think baseball innings, 9 innings over there, I think we're in maybe the third inning. It started, but I think there's a lot more to come here. So if we're talking rugby league terms, maybe the second half. Sorry, the second half of the first half. I don't know what you call it. The second quarter.
Yeah. I made the same analogy. I had an impromptu Ausbiz this morning, and because they wanted me to talk gold and silver, because we've both been in camp gold. Well, we've been in precious metals, team precious metals for quite some time. I've just been in gold camp. You've been in gold camp. I've been in silver, but I think I may be enjoying 1 or 2 days in total in this period where managed to get my nose into the lead. But but if you go back to 1979 and those things, where like gold's best year was up 179%. So this is now the second best year for gold ever, or it's the second best 2-year rally or something like that. And silver hasn't even started stretching yet, like really. I said exactly the same thing. I said I think we're still at the top of the first third of the move. I saw a couple of articles as well that the people accusing the Chinese of holding down silver and platinum just on the back of they're needed for electronics, but commodities have underperformed for 15 years against the equities market. I mean, NVIDIA is bigger than the entire materials sector
Oh,
in the world.
yes.
So by about 3 times. So it's for money to flow back into hard assets, I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. And pretty commodity focused here for the ASX this week, which is a nice change because it's just watching banks go up on passive flow for the last year, and then analysts call themselves geniuses has been pretty annoying. But yeah, JT, obviously BHP and Rio rallying at the moment because of that Freeport McMoran. The mudslide essentially wiped out 3% of the world's copper supply.
Yeah, so they called force majeure on a few of their delivery contracts. Obviously, then their share price tanked, and copper futures all rallied on the back of that. So massive move, and then obviously you've had the flow on in. I think Develop Global has some copper assets, and that's why that jumped as well. So if you want to get those kind of picks, we were on that before this move. Just subscribe to our Alpha Picks. Northern Star, I think that rallied about 10% this week, just on the back of gold. But
I needed to play some catch up, like the likes of Newmont. And I didn't realise Newmont and BHP are number 3 and 4 silver producers in the world.
Yeah, well, it's like BHP is the biggest uranium producer in the world as well. It's like you kind of forget how
in Australia. Yeah, it makes a footnote. But Northern Star needed some catch up because it's not like the Aussie dollars. I mean, the margins for the Australian miners must be just out of control. So I think they did do a small bit of hedging, Northern Star potentially, but that's why, because Newmont doesn't hedge.
So that's why it actually, there was some talk of some hedging problems near the highs, and that's why it did fall back down to, I think, maybe 16s, 17s, and it's back at 23s now. So
that's a high conviction pick from us.
Yeah, absolutely. And NAB, it came out in the Sydney Morning Herald yesterday. There's the Penthouse Syndicate. Apparently they've got, so these syndicates laundered money through the Sydney real estate market. Looks like they've falsified documents to get massive loans, or not massive, I mean like their Sydney property loans, and then use that to launder money through the bank. So I think there was like 14 staff, and we're talking, I think, over $150 million laundered through there. So another scandal at a bank.
Wasn't it $100 million in fines or something as well, or am I thinking of the loan value?
No, it's just the start. Like they've charged some people. So this is just the the first part of the story. So they've actually caught some fraud within the bank, or some money laundering. So more to come. And the thing is, they said that that 107 million that they cited in the article said that that's just the start of things. So it could be a lot more than they expected. I mean, it's kind of sus that I think the ringleader hired the penthouse in Crown Towers here in Sydney. I think it's like 37 a month in 37,000 a month in rent there. So that kind of drew a little bit of attention to himself. So I'm not an expert in money laundering, but you kind of want to just keep things quiet, I think, and renting a penthouse, undue attention.
Yeah, not the smartest move in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Particularly at a casino. Really, that's just absolutely ridiculous. So highlights for it was a pretty quiet week, stock specific, to be honest. There's all these M&A deals, but it just really feels like it's not the same effect anymore. The steam's starting to run out of it a little bit. My favourite little small modular reactor company, Oklo, after rallying 100% in 3 weeks, fell back 25% this week. But Palantir yet again did another massive deal. UK, and old Trumpy was, I think, had a hand in that. They're talking, it's £1.5 billion.
That's decent.
So, it's not small. The initial news reports were €920 million, and then I think more details have come out over the course of the week. But obviously, the Intel NVIDIA thing, which is that infinite circle with OpenAI, Intel's like it's like your useless cousin who comes around with the can going, "Oh, come on, guys!" Like, it's you spare a dollar. So basically, the entire industry is trying to lift their useless cousin in Intel because they need someone to do it. I suppose Intel's the cheapest or whatever, but Intel and Nvidia did a deal, and then Intel's rattling the cam. Like, it's kind of almost a bit pathetic, to be honest. But yeah, they've sort of, the Mag 7 have adopted. It's like when they adopted ET, the old movie, really. But so, and then Trump's been pushing that pretty hard, and Apple's been involved, and et cetera, et cetera. And Apple did rally this week, but it was just anecdote. Like, analysts doing photos of a packed Chinese Apple store. I mean, aren't stores just always packed? There's like 2 billion people there. So, like, there's really anecdotal evidence around whether the iPhone sales are going have lifted or not. And Costco beat expectations by quite a bit today, and sort of dropped off in the aftermarket. To be honest, technically looks horrible. Costco, I've got to say, and it is at an elevated. It is at elevated prices. I had it on the call on Thursday, and both Mark Morland and I said, "Well, we like it. We like the company, but." And I was a bit more. I mean, it's one of our high conviction, but I was a bit more negative on it overall because because it technically looked horrible. So, that price action just really, maybe proves. It'll be interesting to see what happens tonight anyway. But I think everyone's eyes are going to be on that PCE number, which they normally wouldn't be for a final revision, but they will be after that GDP number.
What's the expectations on the PCE? Let's have a look.
I'm not entirely sure because I normally I just ignore it. I even said to Richard at the start of the week, I don't bother putting that in the calendar. It's just a final revision. It won't make any difference. And I saw it this morning for the live broadcast, and I was really surprised overall. So,
there you go. So I'm looking on Forex Factory. So it was 0.3 previously, and they're expecting 0.2 tonight. So yeah,
if it comes in, I mean, that would have been before last night. So I would expect that they'd be thinking it'd be higher. Particularly with that, there's got to be something. The numbers are so out. They're just weird at the moment. They're not making a hell of a lot of sense, and we are just essentially in a period of potential stagflation. But GDP is very counter to the employment numbers, which is and then there's inflation. Like, it'll be, I dare say this year will be a bit of a case study for economics students in the future, and just for a multitude of reasons. But Apple doing the heavy lifting this week. Nvidia a little bit, but fairly red overall, as you can see.
Yeah, I mean, S&P did make new highs this week, but has pulled back. But just having a look at S&P on the daily chart, it's like we've had 2 days where we've actually had a bit of a pullback. So we haven't had that for a while. So interesting.
It's the first 3 consecutive day fall in a long time. So
yeah, exactly right. So it'll be interesting to see if that continues. If you have a look at the XJO, we're near the lows here. Like, I think 87.50 is a fairly key level on the cash. If that breaks, I think we're definitely heading lower. And have a look at the banks in that regard. That they look really weak. So obviously, all the heavy lifting on the way up was the banks. Now the commodities are starting to rally, but in terms of market cap, it's a lot smaller than the banks. So our market looks the weakest in terms of overall indexes. And I'm always looking on for signs out there on what's going to lead the markets. And I will say this: crypto. Have a look at that.
So well, there you go. You can see there Bitcoin. Down 7 this week.
Yeah. So the way I see it is that Bitcoin has become the store of value. It's the gold play. So what I think going forward is that you're not going to see massive gains in Bitcoin. All of the volatility is in the secondary coins and obviously the trash altcoins. But I've just noticed Solana had a massive run up to the high side. Actually, I don't know if it's new highs, but yeah, it was looking really strong at the beginning of the week. But that's all reversed now, and it's pulled back quite a bit. So Solana's back under 200. Ethereum's back under about 4.3 as well. So as I said, I'm always looking for signs on where can we see a bit of weakness, and crypto is a fairly good indicator of the risk on appetite, and I think that could be a sign that we could have a bit of a pullback. So don't forget we still have that insurance for September, October. I mean, like obviously September's
and November.
Yeah, that's it. So, but the September quarter's almost done. We've got a couple of trading days next week, and then that's it. But we still have some insurance for throughout October. So
will we have witching soon? Options expiring?
Oh yeah, you're right. It should be quite witching. It's not. I'll have to double check that. Yeah, it's been a while since I've traded options and having to worry about expiries. But it would make sense that we do have some triple or quad witching either tonight. Well, actually, we had it already.
Yeah, no, I mean every chance, but look, that's essentially these bar charts. This is what I've been praying for about 12 months. So look, uranium has been on an absolute tear, but I mean that's got to be the third consecutive week uranium's been up more than 7%. Platinum and palladium up 10 this week, and look, and we've obviously got a silver platinum enhanced growth, which we put on 3.5 months ago. So that was fairly expensive. The leverage was we're only getting 5 to 1, or a little bit over 5 to 1. So, but we're now that strategy. It's a 2-year strategy. We're already up 100% on that. So,
shows how good leverage is when you get it right.
Well, that's exactly right. Like, I mean, and you with these strategies, like what you essentially pay per $100,000 exposure, you've got to make that up. So it's the cost of your leverage over the course of the 2 years, which was about 18,000. So we tore through the 18,000, the first 18%, which covers the cost of the strategy, in I think the first 2 weeks, and then it's been. And then platinum petered out and came back off. Silver's been the laggard, and now they're both up. I think they're both up around about 38%. So the strategy now, basically we get $100,000 exposure from this point onwards on the leverage. So essentially, for every percent she continues to go up, we're getting 5 to 6 times that. So we may early exit because we may not want to take the risk, but I mean, like I said, I think it's just the first third of this move. So I'd be pretty happy to keep running that.
Yeah,
obviously our hyperscaling AI as well has just knocked it out of the park with nuclear and things, and copper as well. So
yeah, look, basically we're doing quite well, quite on the hot streak. Why don't you mention the gold and silver that we just closed as well?
Well, yeah. So we had gold and silver store of value plus, we called it last year, and we put a pair of gold and silver together. It was 10 to 1 leverage, so $10,000 down for $100,000 exposure. We made 313.25%. That has matured and been paid out back to the clients. Everyone was really keen to do it again, so we wised up, and I think it was around the time we wrote that article that it's going to keep going. So I basically called everyone 3 weeks ago after having a discussion with JT, and we went, look, this thing's just going to keep going. We think we should roll early. We don't want to miss out. So we got everyone in. Whilst that expired this Tuesday, we got everyone wanted to do it for 2025 as well. Slightly more expensive this year, $12,000 per 100,000. But we got everyone in 3 weeks ago. We are now both silver, I think, is up 11, and the gold miners is up around about 11 or 12 as well. So we went with the gold miners because essentially at these margins, earnings per share growth will be much more than what gold will be able to pull over the course of the 12 months. So we're about 1.5% away from the leverage kicking in on that one as well, and we're only 3 weeks in.
Yeah, it's been a great move, great trade.
It's been a great trade, and look, I've spent, what are we, 87 episodes in, so about a year and a half, or a bit over a year and a half, and we've been banging this drum. Well, you've been banging the gold drum. I've been banging the silver, platinum, and copper drum for a very long time. But it's nice when a plan, and uranium as well. It's nice when a plan pans out, and you sort of get the result for the clients, because they're all, I haven't, well, there's always a couple of whinges, but but primarily I think it's about the highest rate of customer satisfaction we've had so far. And it's also nice as well that we've had a touch of a flat spot for the global alpha as well, albeit that Micron was a great result, up about 30% in a week and a half, but not, the hot hand has been passed from Mr. Nader back over to the old blokes, you and I, mate. So I'm sure he'll have many better days than us, given the US market's so bullish. But I've got to say, if this is the top half of the first third of this move, we are going to have some very happy people in about 6 or 12 months' time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because that's silver platinum. I mean, if this thing gets back to halfway what people are talking, that 313% gain on that first store of value will be peanuts compared to what we can potentially pull out of this thing in the next 12 months. So but fingers crossed. I'll probably put the mocker on it now. But it's nice when a plan pans out, and we get to enjoy it. And lithium rallied a bit this week as well. Essentially, I think that thematic's starting to come back a little bit. There's still some issues in China around certification of mines or something. I'm not entirely sure. I try to ignore the lithium sector because it's just a bit. Well, antimony's the new one. I've just got people hassling me about antimony now all the time. But look, which is a great space, but it's just like I just feel like going. Just let me enjoy platinum and silver. I don't need a new project. But we did look at US antimony stock this week as well.
So that's a big volatile stock as well. So I think we were recommending people to just dip your toe in the water and save some for reserve, because it's going to be volatile. So
and I think a few of the names that have been mentioned, there's Loxley, LKY, and TMG is another one. Trig Mining, which is, but it's changing its name to US Antimony, or something like that, which is all those. It seems very meme, like it's just junior miners are a new hot theme. I'm not convinced at the moment. But
this is pretty much ASX mining. Like I keep telling you, the ASX has the memory of a goldfish, and it's just always what's the hot commodity at the time. So and
it's musical chairs. You just make
sure
you grab a seat.
Yeah, so we had rare earths maybe a couple of weeks back, and that's fizzled out. And now it's antimony. One thing that I do remember is Southern Cross Gold. So they're not in production yet, but they do have some antimony there. So could be a gold antimony play there as well. So I'll have a look at that. But any pullbacks, I'll be looking to buy some of that Southern Cross Gold.
Yeah,
so bit of a freebie for the listeners there.
Look, I mean, it's the ASX Alphas. You're spoiled for choice when the junior miners are hot. But it's been a rough 18 months. Let's face it. Because it's apart from playing the hits in the gold stocks, we haven't had many options. But Andean Silver's one you recommended at the start of the week. JT, run us through that.
Yeah, so obviously Mark's been quite bullish silver, and he just turned over and said, "What's your favourite silver name?" And I just
we've already got polymetals as well.
Yeah. So Andean Silver,
recommend another one.
Yeah, sure. So Andean Silver is one that I actually wrecked it as a I think what do you call it, 12 Days of Christmas. It was the Lent picks last year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was Andean was trading 90 cents at the time. Now, where are we? September. It was trading $1.80.
Oh, was this your
Yeah,
Advent pick?
yeah. So it's up 100.
Mate, you can, yeah. Well, and it's up 10% today.
Yeah, exactly. So
that chart doesn't take into account today. It's about, isn't it, above $2?
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that's always been the name, and it's just the same thematic. So, whenever I look at miners, what you have to look at is the guys that are in charge. Have they actually found something and actually turned it into a mine? Because it's one thing to actually go out looking for stuff and coming back with drill hits, but the money's in actually finding something that's actually commercial. And so the Andean silver guys, like the I forget the gold name, but either way, they've taken juniors to from exploring to actual full-fledged tier 1 mines. So when they found the deposit in Chile, they're like, oh, look, let's pay. I think it was a couple $1 million for the actual spot there. And then all they did was just said, oh, look, there's been some previous drilling. Whoever's had this in the past obviously didn't know how to, turn it into an actual mineable operation. And I just, backed them to actually turn it into something quite productive over the coming years. So basically, they found a hotspot for silver, and I just think that they'll keep delivering. So that's one that I think it's trading around. I forget the actual market cap, maybe a couple $100 million now. When I first found it was maybe about 100 million or just under. So yeah. So I'm tipping that to be, if they keep going at this rate and get into production, probably $1 billion market cap.
Most silver mine. Oh, I know you got the last call this afternoon, but they do keep track because they had a crack at me about Paladin, because obviously Paladin went up. We made money on Paladin, but then it came crashing back down again, and I cop crap. They're going, oh, we won't mention yours, and I mean, what do you mean? We made 80%. Like, we just got out. Like, and but they definitely keep track. Henry Jennings is still dining out on his call on Zip from about 8 years ago. He never shuts up about it. But mate, I reckon you could be the leader here. That'd be a win for.
Well, I mean, look, don't forget the market's at record high. So there's been some good moves out there. So
yeah, but there's not too many. No, mate, people do boring crap like I did. I think Objective Corp. I think I'm up. Mine's up about 40 or 50, but I don't think there's not too many things that are up 110%. And look, by year's end, just quietly, if we get the move in silver, even if it gets back to anywhere close to the 50-year average, these guys, I think the average silver miner, all-in sustaining costs is somewhere between 18 to 20, usually, or thereabouts. I mean, we're at 45 now, and like if it gets to 60, which is, like I said, that's the 50-year average.
And they're printing cash.
Oh yeah, and just in the nick of time as well. But I couldn't believe how much. Like I said, I saw a graphic for big silver producers, because it's quite often a byproduct of gold producing, or copper producing. But BHP and Newmont were in the top 5 silver producers in the world, and it's byproduct. So, old Newmont's sitting on that 180,000 megatons of stockpile copper as well. Plus gold's going up. I mean, no wonder it's at $124. We should have. I'm regretting our switch to Northern Star, but I mean,
I think what you need to factor in though as well is that you've got the US investors kind of coming around to the gold and silver story. I mean, like when you've got the reserve currency, you don't actually have to worry about store of value. But there is a bit of a move over there, and obviously they're going to do a bit of a search, and they'll be like, oh well, it's the only one on the S&P 500. So that's where the minor screen robot or the actual retail money is going in.
I believe it's the best performing stock in one of the indexes as well. But I think maybe Robinhood might have overtaken it or something like that. But either way, it's we did have it. We started buying in the mid 40s, and I said $100. It's going to go to $100 before the year end. And the amount of ridicule I copped on Twitter, and was was probably a little bit unnecessary, to be honest, but that's social media for you. But
Oh, can I just
but
say one point? So see
mm,
how we're talking about miners at the moment, and I was going to try and save this for the last call, and I might bring it up is um, Bitcoin miners. Have a look at some of the
mm,
moves in the Bitcoin miners over the last, say, 3 weeks. Absolutely massive. I believe Iris Energy,
well, up or down? I
up.
don't
Like,
follow it.
so it
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
right.
Like, doesn't matter what Bitcoin's doing. To actually mine Bitcoin is getting harder and harder and harder. So if you've got the hash rate, basically money's flowing into the space. So Riot Blockchain and RS Energy, they're the two big movers. So I was just saying, like, I'll uh, I'll have a chat about we're talking about miners of actual gold, but miners of Bitcoin, another store of value, is actually heading higher as well. So a little tip there. And onto the CNF here in Greed. Obviously, we're back away from the greed territory, with a little bit of a pullback in the
It
markets.
was borderline extreme greed
Oh, was it? Okay.
2 or 3 days ago, or it was somewhere towards 70, and then the last three. Well, that would have been probably Wednesday, maybe, or Tuesday, because I remember checking it for some reason. It might have actually just been in my browser, and I came across it by accident from the previous week, because I don't normally check it early in the week, but. Market momentum's in fear now, and I mean, like we've still got put and call options in greed, and market volatility is neutral. Stock strength is in greed, but I would imagine that momentum slipping into fear and no one and put and call options still being in greed territory is not a good mix overall. But look, I think I wasn't on last week, but I'm sure
Oh, that's right. You were
I
on your
put.
yacht. But yeah, so
Yeah. No, and by my yacht, you mean my in a car on the highway with my two daughters going back to the farm, but it didn't feel like a yacht.
yeah, true. So Kai and I were both bullish last week. So I haven't looked at the S&P. I know it's pulled back a little bit, but
it's down marginally.
okay. So
And to be honest, I'm going to put my hand up and say I would have been bullish last week as well. I'm pretty surprised at the sentiment's gone a little bit negative now.
well,
But there
it
is
actually made
there
new.
is a
I'm just
lot
looking at the chart
to
now. So it made a new high on the Monday,
on Monday, Tuesday,
and
yeah.
then touched a new high on Tuesday, and then it's pulled back for ever since then. So yeah, interesting that two 3 week closes and everyone's suddenly gone quite neutral. But if you have a look
Yeah.
at the chart, we haven't had a pullback for a long, long time. Pretty much, since the April lows. So, um, and we've got October coming around. So, it'll be interesting to see if the Bears can actually have a winning week type of thing because we haven't had that for a
Well,
while.
it's never really like. I mean, that's where I think people think I take joy in the market coming off. It's not. Let me just tell you, people, it ain't good for business. So it's. I'm not. I mean, I always sort of err on the side of caution because I don't think people outline the risks enough. But yeah, I would have been bullish last week as well. So it wouldn't have you put a cross against my name there. But there's been no Kramer of the week because he's been for a while because we really haven't had. He hasn't said a lot. I've got to say. I've missed Jim. He's been pretty quiet. Normally he's good for some form of comment, but I think he's just been outclassed by Trump being a moron. To be honest, so and saying outrageous things. I must say, my favourite part of the week was Monday morning. Watching Trump try to ban Tylenol and trying to say medical terms, and then the doctor having to come over his shoulder and tell him and showing him how to pronounce it properly. It was pretty good television. I've got to say, not for him, but
Well,
he's
that's one thing
it was
Trump.
like yeah, go.
Well, he is entertaining. Like,
Oh
love
yeah,
him
but
or
it was
hate
like
him.
Grandpa Simpson. It was hilarious. It
Yeah.
was like it's this. It's a debatable. Just like man, speak English. But I'm going to go. I'm going to go bearish. Just because I'm a bit concerned about that the all of the gains this month. I mean, there's been Oracle was a big one, and then there's been a few patchy sort of, but everyone's now, you can tell with that Intel deal, everyone's a little bit skeptical of the M&A stuff now. I don't see that providing a positive catalyst. We've rallied on the back of there being guaranteed 3 rate cuts this month. This year, and that is very quickly being sucked out of the market. And like the bond, we were 99.9% sure that we were getting, another 225 basis points, maybe more. And now I think that has significantly dropped. So, and I'm just that I think next week, and we're leading into payrolls as well next Friday. I think we could be at a raft of Fed speakers. So what are the Fed speakers going to say? Like, with those numbers coming out. So I'm actually quite bearish, and I think it might give back half of this month's gains next week, or maybe more, and maybe even more. But we shall see.
Yeah, fair enough. So I'm going to go on the bearish side as well. So my reasoning is a little bit different. I'm going to have to double check on when triple witching is, but I have said it many a time where the market gets squeezed into that expiry. They hold it there for that expiry, and then after all those options expire, it then goes the natural direction. So that's what could happen. And the other reason is crypto. So first time I've seen a few pullbacks in a lot of the hot coins, the altcoin space there. And I think crypto's acting like a risk currency at the moment. So yeah, so I'm bearish for next week. And I'm cheering on our insurance, which hopefully pays out.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe it will. Triple witching was apparently September the 19th. But,
okay, well, there you go. So it's already been done. One thing
been done, but
one thing I have noticed, though, is that even though the markets, so S&P did make a new high on the Monday and the Tuesday, VIX was rising throughout that anyway. So when we put on the trade...
there's a lot of red flags, isn't there? A lot of, a lot of sort of like market signals rather than like you go on Twitter, you can find 27,000 reasons as to why we're overvalued and blah, blah, blah. And it's quite annoying because it doesn't necessarily mean that, it's going to turn around anytime soon. But there's a few price action red flags for me.
So when we did put on that S&P insurance, VIX was trading in the 14s, like maybe 14.6 thereabouts. And as the markets, made new highs, the VIX has steadily been rising. It's trading around 16.5 now. And if that gets to the 17s and 18s, I think it could be a game on for the Bears. So I'm bearish for next week. But as always, I'll let price action determine my view.
No worries. I think that wraps it up, mate. It's been a busy old week. I think we've between SBS, Livewire, FN Arena, Ausbiz. Christ,
don't forget
the three of us.
I think the bull we have to do, and then I've got
we had the bull as well.
I've got the last call on today, so I'll be chatting about the crypto mining as well there.
Yeah, I'm getting sick of us. It certainly makes things easy now doing that morning broadcast. So if anyone, I broadcast live on Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube most mornings. It's seen a dramatic decline in people reading the email that we send out. Now everyone's unsubscribed and just watches it instead, which was an unintended side effect. But it certainly makes things easy because I've got to get myself prepared. I've already had a couple of technical issues. It's live television, baby. Look, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Global Alpha podcast will be out Monday as well with Richie and Kai.
Oh, you might want to plug the up-and-coming webinar as well.
Oh, yes, of course. I should have put a slide in. Yes, but the marketing department will kill me. Defense, the security super cycle, investing in a geopolitically divided world. That is on the 7th of October at midday, which is a Tuesday, so Tuesday week. I can't believe I missed an opportunity to mention this. So from the webinar that I did on hyperscaling AI, the first Tuesday of this month, on average, out of the 6 stock picks, one of them's down 4%. The rest of them, on average, are up 31% plus. So, Oklo was one of them. It rallied 100, but we saw Oracle rally 40. We saw Google rally 20 to 25. Vertiv was up at 21 at one stage. And the copper miners was part of it as well. It would be up, I think it's up 17%. So it's only the water company that's really bugging us. And that's in a market where the S&P is only up 2.5%.
Yeah, nice.
So do yourself a favour, because we've got some good defence company picks, and then on the 4th of November we will have it's just a 3-part series, one on robotics and automation. I don't believe I know what the we were trying to work out what the title was for that one, the other day, but I think Kai was working on it, but
wasn't it the robots doing the human? That was the
It was very easy to go with. It was very easy to go with, the robots are coming for you, but we thought it sounded a little bit a little bit negative. But
but just on that,
investing in AI automation and a robotic future.
But just on that, you sent the video of the Tesla being put together. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, the unboxed thing. Oh my God! People do yourself a favour and have a look at this thing. They put out in a patent application about 16 months ago, I think it was, if my memory serves me right. I might actually even try and record it and put it in at the end here, if my technical skills are good enough. They're talking the cyber taxis.
Mm-hmm.
Will be, with this new technique, will be able to be produced every an entire car in 33 seconds off the production line.
Insane.
It is, and they're aiming for 5 seconds. And
wow.
There was a bunch of technical drawings or whatever, but and they're already doing price comparisons around what Waymo's cost per mile and what Tesla does. It's half the price, or 32 cents a mile versus 18 with Tesla. They keep getting approvals, etc. So there's a small hint as to what might be involved in the robotics and automation. We are. It's a high conviction pick for us, and it's also we're happy to buy it. But I think some of the total addressable markets on this stuff is quite eye opening. And we've got some really solid picks in logistics and automation, cobots and humanoid robots, and the self-driving, the fully self-driving thematic, which is going to take off. Some of these addressable markets are, I think, the self-driving is potentially $1 trillion a year in the next 2 years, but I'm still waiting for my flying car as well. So there's which someone is producing, but yeah, there's it'll be an interesting one. But yeah, defense and super cycle, security super cycle will be next week, and we managed to get ourselves some proper software and everything this time around. It's not just me gibbering.
Oh, nice.
So it'll be properly produced. So our digital marketing team tell me. So go and register for that.
Just on the defence thematic, I just saw that NATO talked about shooting some of Russian drones within their space, and Russia came back and said, "Oh, well, that could be war." I was just like, didn't they invade the country like 3 years ago? And it's just funny. Yeah. It's all about technical definitions, but either way. That defence space
I wouldn't mind being a shareholder in whoever makes the missiles, because on Bloomberg, the way they were talking about it was they they took out about $100,000 worth of drones with a $30 million missile, apparently. It was something stupid like that. I don't quote me on those numbers, but it was like, and it was Romain Bostic on Bloomberg saying, he goes, there's got to be a better way. So
that's
I think that'll
actually
be
why,
positive for Drone Shield and EOS.
Yeah, well, that's why antimony is actually quite big, because that's one of the big ingredients in bullets and missiles.
Yeah, right. There you go. Rheinmetall actually went back to a record high this week as well, which is the German artillery maker, which is one of the, it's up like, God, it's up thousands of percent this year or something stupid. And it did pull back recently because they thought it was going to be sold. And then Trump doing a U-turn on it and saying, well, Ukraine should take back their territory. It got very quickly back up to record highs. So he had a bit of a rough day at the old UN. He walked into the UN building and some smart asses turned off the escalators to go up the thing. So he had to walk up the whole thing himself. And then when he got on stage for his speech, they turned off his teleprompter. So a little bit juvenile, but I like it. So it's he was fairly rambling.
You love the pettiness.
Oh, just, like, and it's the UN. It's supposed to be the bastion of like diplomacy, and just to see that sort of childish behaviour, it just warms my heart. I've got to say.
Yeah.
Look, you got to go.
Anyway, let's leave it.
We'll leave it at that, and hope everyone has a great weekend. Thanks, JT. Again, always insightful, and we'll chat next week.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Bye.
Cheers.